Hello, everyone. It is Friday, May 12th, and it's been a while. It's been a long while. I have been out of pocket for 3 weeks and was debating whether I wanted to share it here live, but I promised to do an episode every single Friday in 2023. But as you all know, this topic, the keys to mid career success in the new world of work, was scheduled for April 21st, I believe, that Friday, April 21st. And my plan was to record as typical, as usual, every single Friday, as promised for this year. But as we all know, plans can change and plans can shift. And so I've literally been ghost on social media out of pocket. So I'm basically starting from scratch, but that's okay because it's a lesson for others as well. Because life threw me an unexpected, unanticipated event, and I may share more on this topic because I do think it is a major career disruption, and it's what I do, but it's dealing with grief and dealing with loss. So I lost my last living grandmother, and on Friday, April 21st, which was when I was supposed to share this topic originally, and I debated, should I still do it? Should I try to push through? But sometimes you have to recognize when you need to take a step back, and it's okay. It's not like anyone's here, you know, saying, "Oh gosh, why is Nicole not showing up?" I think most people know that something probably happened because I've literally been out of pocket for 3 weeks, and those closest to me already, of course, knew that my last living grandmother passed, and you deal with grief in a different way. Loss is very tough. It's something that we all go through in life, but it's something that no one can prepare you for. And the deeper and closer the relationship is, the more hurtful and the longer the grief will last. And I believe grief can even last a lifetime. I just believe that you learn to live with that hole in your heart. So I know that there are others who have lost people. I actually lost my best friend. I've never talked about this publicly, and I won't go deep into it, but I lost one of my best friends in 2019, tragically. That was in 2019, 4 years ago almost. Then 2 years ago in 2021, I lost my granny who actually raised me. So a lot of people may not know that. That may be new for you. If you're watching me, I was raised by my grandmother. And I don't go in deep into that here either, but it was something that shaped who I was. And so she passed away unexpectedly in 2021. It was not related to COVID. It was another C word. But it struck really fast and really hard, and she was gone within three weeks. And then my grandmother now in 2023, who was also like another mother to me because I was at both my granny's house and my grandma's house, and so they both were like moms to me. So it's a different relationship, and that's what we're talking about the workplace, we're talking about careers. These are things that people are dealing with in your workplace right now. There is someone in your workplace right now who has lost someone, who is struggling maybe with grief. Others, may not have been as close to certain people in their family, so grief may hit them differently, the loss may hit them differently. But for my grandmothers and then my best friend, all 2 years apart, it's been a struggle. It's something that, again, I don't talk about very publicly, um, but it has been a struggle and it has impacted my career decisions to date. So if you are dealing with a loss right now, if you're dealing with grief, especially as we're approaching Mother's Day, I just want to share with you that even though I can't physically see you right now, know that my heart is going out to you. Know that grief takes time. Don't let anyone rush you through that process. And take a step back if you have to. Again, it took me 3 weeks to come on here, and it could have taken longer. It could For some people, it's just different in how it all affects us. I go into my work, but I also find pockets of times where I start to reflect and think about the memories and all of the different things. And so that's something that we all have in common, is that we will experience grief. We will experience loss in this life. So, with that said, I just want to honor both of my grandmothers on this Mother's Day. And I didn't know how this live would go. It is the Career Disruptor Weekly Advantage. It's the Career Disruptor Advantage Weekly Live Show. And I don't script it, even though I have my topics and my talking points, it's not scripted. So I just want you to know that if you're here, if you're listening to this, if you're watching the replay, I thank you for your comments in advance. I thank you for your condolences. I thank you for your prayers, your thoughts. I really appreciate you being here and being in my world, because the older I get, the more I progress through life, the more I progress in my career and business, I realize it's the connections that we have to people that matters the most. I mean, there is nothing that mattered more to me than being with my grandmothers. And I was with both of them as they took their last breath. Others were there too. They were surrounded in love. And so I was able to be there in both of those moments. And so there is nothing more important than your connections, whether it's with people in your family. And it may not be everyone. You may not be able to connect with everyone, but those that you can connect to, those that you feel that positive energy from, those that do lift you up and not tear you down, whether it's in your career, your business, your work life, your personal life, friends, whatever it may be, those connections mean everything, everything. So I'm going to dive into the topic today. I'm going to be very brief, but I want to talk about 6 keys to mid career success in the new world of work. And also just let you know that if you were waiting on my career coaching week that I promised back in April. Again, all of this happened around the same time that I was planning to launch my career coaching week. So I will set a new date for that particular event, and I will keep you posted once that is ready to launch. I would love, if you are a mid-career woman, to join me inside of that coaching week. I think you'll get a lot from it and make those connections that you're really looking to make as you continue on in your career. So, the first key to mid career success in the new world of work is focus. I forget who said this. They said structure is freedom. And I'm trying to remember who said it, but I heard it from someone and I grabbed a hold to it because it is something that has stayed with me, that when you are in your mid-career, whether you're transitioning or whether you're trying to get that next promotion or whether you're looking to make a big leap, focus is your friend. Focus, focus, focus. And structure is your freedom. Most people want to do things spontaneously. That's okay. We all need some spontaneity in our lives and in our careers. But structure and focus becomes really the thing that sets you apart in mid career. If you're the one at work who can focus without being interrupted by constant distractions, without hopping from one thing to another and not really moving anything forward, that will definitely make you stand out in this new world of work, because the world and people and employees and leaders, everyone is becoming more and more distracted. So I want you to have focus like nobody else so you can move things forward. Number two, I want you to rest. And this is something that I'm having to work on myself. I'm operating off of 3 hours of sleep because I had to get something done. But I can't, I know that, again, practicing what I preach, it is something that I've actively worked on over the years, is trying to rest, trying to get my rest. So I don't do that all of the time, but I am a night owl, so I have to fight against that or make sure I'm balancing it out. So if I stay up super late, ideally I can get up a little bit later if I need to, versus having to start my time. But I am a mom. I do have to get my daughter to school. Sometimes my husband can do that. So again, it just depends on the day, but trying to balance that out to make sure that you're getting your rest, because if we're not rested, we can easily become irritable. It's just natural, right? It's like you're hungry, or you're hangry is what they call it, hungry and angry. but you want to make sure that you're getting the proper rest and even nutrition as well. That will help you focus, which we talked about as step one to mid career success is focus. Resting will help you be able to do that. Number three, I want you to really think about how to be decisive. Commit to a decision and follow it through. So, this is something that I've learned when I'm wavering and indecision and I am trying to make a decision, it can literally take me months to make that decision. So back in the mid 2000s, I ended up getting braces. And I was like, okay, I'm in my career. I'm on the phone all day. I was a sales representative at the time. And it was at an amazing company selling technology related products, so high end products. And I was getting braces. I was weighing the possibility of getting braces. And again, from a career standpoint, I'm like, okay, image, appearance, how am I going to sound? And even though my teeth have shifted since, I actually do sound very different because depending on how my teeth are positioned, you sound different. You talk very differently. But for me, that was a decision that it literally took me probably 6, 7 or more months to make because I could not decide whether or not to get these braces. I knew that I needed them. My dentist recommended them, and it was something that obviously there was a cost attached to it, but I looked at it as an investment in terms of how I felt and how I looked outwardly. I never had braces as a child, so I was like, okay, I've done without them all of this time, but 7, 8 months later, I ended up getting the braces. It was the best decision that I've ever made. Well, not the best decision I've ever made, but one of, those decisions where I look back and I'm like, "I'm glad I made that choice." Now, maintaining after braces is another challenge altogether. Comment below if you understand what I mean about retainers. Um, so I my point with that is if there is a decision that you are wavering on right now, you are probably exhausted from that indecision. Make a decision and move forward. And I will tell you, this is something that I've actively worked on too, that had dividends, paid dividends for my career. I make decisions now very quickly. I try not to overthink. I'm not an impulsive person. I'm actually naturally analytical and I'm a planner, but I've learned to think through scenarios, think through possibilities, but be decisive and make a decision because you can sit in indecision and that could literally stall your progress in your career. It could stall. You could want that big promotion or want something, a special assignment or project at your job, but you're not asking for it. You're sitting in indecision. Should I ask? Should I not? Make the decision and move forward. Have the conversation, whatever that is. Invest in yourself, invest in that course, invest in whatever it is that you feel will help you make progress because it's not really the thing that you're investing in. It's not really the thing that you're asking for. It's the process of making a decision that really gets that forward momentum for you and boosts your confidence so you can do the next hard thing. So, again, being decisive, we talked about resting and we talked about focusing. The number four, or fourth thing is nonconforming. So, nonconformity is really not conforming to the status quo. To me, that's simply how it's defined. It doesn't mean that you are an extremist and you're doing something that's completely out of the pocket just to be different. It is something that is unique to you. It's something that you do naturally. It's something that you want to do because you don't want to be in a box and it's something that comes naturally for you. So for example, for me, I am someone who doesn't conform well to the status quo. If someone tells me that this is how we've always done it, I'm probably the one that's going to think about, well, is there another way for us to do it? Um, that's why I'm the career disruptor, right? It is my nature to challenge, to question. I'm a CD on the DISC profile. If any of you love your personality test or employment profiles, whatever you want to call them, behavioral profiles, all of these things that we use to measure our personality. I'm a very conscientious person. I'm a planner. I'm a C in that I question. I'm very thoughtful. I will get you the details, but I'm also a D. And in this profile that we took, it actually gave you a combination as well. So I was also a D, which means I'm very action oriented. I'm very driven. I like results. I like to make decisions and not just sit on things. And so it's almost the best of both worlds with me being a C and a D because I like to drive. I like to get things done and I like to move, but sometimes I have to fight the C part of myself to make sure that I'm not just sitting in indecision. And I have worked on that. I took the leap into my business. That was a major decision that, yes, it took me some time because I wanted to focus. I wanted to create structure. I wanted to see if me being an entrepreneur was viable. And so I did. I did make that leap and ultimately made that decision. So being decisive can change your career and literally propel you into that next thing. So I want you to think about what is the decision that you need to make or something that you need to ask for or do right now. Make the decision, move forward. Number 5 is getting comfortable with uncertainty. Not knowing every play by play of your life, of your career. Again, I could not have imagined in 2021 in the way that my granny passed, that it was going to happen so suddenly, so fast, without just any preparation, right? You can never prepare for a loss, but it wasn't like it was a slow, like something that we could kind of go through a transition with her. It just happened so suddenly. So that shook my world. I made the decision at that time, a few months later, and based on some other factors that happened surrounding that, that I needed to try my hand at entrepreneurship, that I needed to make the impact because life truly was short. And I had seen that not once at that time, but now a second time. And now in 2023, a third time with the loss of my grandmother. So my first big loss in 2019, and then second big loss in 2021, and now 2023. So I've been going through these pockets of grief and trying to make decisions. But again, I have to make sure I'm resting. I have to make sure that I'm focused, but I also have to pull back and take time for myself as well. So one of the things that I think about is that nothing in life is certain. You can do all of the right things. You can have all the right credentials. You can have all of the right experience and things still don't pan out the way that you want them to, or something happens tragically in your life that literally blows the steam out of your engine. You We all, I think because of COVID, had to get comfortable with uncertainty, but I think there are people who are still struggling with that sense of unknown. They're trying to get back to their comfort. And a part of us as human beings, we want that security. We want that comfort. That is our protection. But what I'm challenging you to do, if you're listening to this and you're in mid career, you're a woman who's in mid career, or a leader who's in mid career, or a female leader, who's in mid career, whatever combination of those things, I want you to think about how many times are you going into the unknown? Are you doing things that are uncomfortable? Are you going into things that aren't certain, that aren't super clear, that aren't super spelled out, that isn't a direct path to what your corporate job would have been? Or maybe you're entrepreneur and you're like, I really want to go back into corporate. That's fine too. Whatever it is, the uncertainty, the magic is in the the uncertainty, the magic is in the unknown. And so that is what I find that lights me up right now, is that I really don't have any certainty. There may be pockets of certainty at times, but at the end of the day, because of all of the loss that I've experienced in my life, and even just things growing up, I know that nothing is truly certain. And I was under this mask of certainty even when I was in corporate. I was under this mask that everything would work out, or that I would just follow this like certain path. And for me, yes, I was able to climb the corporate ladder. I was able to rise to a corporate executive role, report directly into a CEO. Um, all of the things that I'd ever wanted. But still, there was something in me that was calling me to do something else, to do more to impact the workplaces that I felt I was called to impact, and I think they're still out there. There are some workplaces and some organizations, some leaders, even some mid-career women that I know I'm meant to serve. And so my job is to go out there, continue to forge ahead, even in the midst of everything that we've experienced in this life. I want to live life at my fullest because I know those were things that my grandmothers, yes, they to me, I'm most proud of them. I know they were proud, but I'm most proud of them, and also my best friend. I feel that my purpose is bigger. Oh, thank you, Jessica. Thank you, thank you. My purpose, that just you're gonna make me tear up. Really, you're gonna make me tear up. I know that my purpose, I had a cousin who called me. I am getting emotional. I don't do that on these lives, but I had a cousin who called me and said the promise is still alive, even though grandma is gone. The promise is still alive, and it was something that we both connected on because I do believe that even when we experience grief, even if you are experiencing a job loss, that is a major life change too. If you are someone who's experiencing losing something that you thought you've always wanted. Maybe you're in a position of power and you absolutely have climbed the ladder of achievement and everyone is raving about your accomplishments, but deep down, you know that there's still a promise for you. There's still something else that you have to do in this world. And I really do feel and believe that there is something else that I need to do. I don't know and I don't have all of the answers, but I know that I will achieve it. I believe it in my heart that I will. And I believe that there are now people who are guiding me spiritually to do that. And so, my last number six, the last point for mid career success is probably one of the most important ones. Don't quit. You hear it all the time. You see the quotes, you see the memes, you see all of the things around resiliency, not quitting. But I do want you to know that if you're watching this right now and there's something in you that's saying, "Hey, I just feel like giving up," or "I don't know if this is ever going to work out the way that it should, whether it's personally or professionally." I don't want you to quit. I want you to be resilient. I want you to keep going. As Jessica said, keep forging. Um, because the secret sauce to success is you just don't give up. Literally, that is it. If I could leave you with anything else, you don't give up trying to focus, which we talked about. You don't give up trying to make sure that you give your body rest. You don't give up being yourself and not like non-conforming, like trying to conform to the status quo. You don't give up your ideas and your opinions and your authenticity because it doesn't make people comfortable. You keep forging ahead. So thanks, Jessica. I love that. And you don't give up because you're having to go into the unknown, because I will tell you the unknown is actually what makes life exciting. I have I have never been more uncertain, more unclear, more in the unknown than I am right now with everything that I've experienced at this point in my life. But I will tell you that I am excited because I know that I'm not going to quit. I don't know what that will look like. I don't know what my business or my career will look like. I don't know if I would have to make a pivot into something else or if people would even give me a chance to do that. I don't know who's that next client that's coming to me for leadership development training. I have no idea who that next individual client is coming to me for career coaching or joining a membership. But all I know is I'm not giving up because I know the promise and the purpose that I have. And I encourage you to do the same. It's not about me. This is also about you. If you're listening here today, there is a purpose and a reason why you chose this day to listen to this particular topic. So I just want you to know that if you don't quit, that is the secret sauce. Most people who can make it to the executive levels in their company, they will quit before they get there because they will have people maybe who sabotage, or maybe they have people who do support, but yet they don't have the influence to help them get to that level. So they just give up. Or maybe it's someone who has a business idea or a product idea and they just give up. I saw this quote, and I'm going to wrap up with this. It was actually quoted by Anthony O'Neill. It's Usain Bolt's quote, but it was posted by Anthony O'Neill. And so Usain Bolt said, it took him 4 years to run zero point 0.9 seconds, to sprint in zero point 0.9 seconds in order to win, to improve and to sprint in order to win all of the gold medals that he's won. It took him 4 years to run zero point 0.9 seconds. And he said most people will do that in 2 months. And when they don't see themselves progressing, they will give up. They won't even give themselves 2 months before they give up. He gave himself 4 years. It took him 4 years to reach that goal. So, with that said, I want you to know that if you don't listen to anything else, please don't give up. If you don't, the other points aren't relevant to you, don't give up. And again, I thank you for your condolences in advance. I am so sorry that I had to be out of pocket, but I needed to take care of my mind, body, and spirit in that moment because my grandmothers were such examples for me in terms of how I live my life and who I live obviously my faith, but also honoring them was one of my life goals. And I know that they're still watching and they're still here guiding me, and my friend is too. And so I just want to leave you with that if you are ready to disrupt the status quo on purpose, that you can do that today. We need some disruption right now. And you are here for a reason. You can do that. And in order to change the world, I want you to read the sign behind me. And it says, create the things you wish existed. There is something that you wish existed that doesn't exist right now in your company, in your community, in your home, maybe in your whatever it is, something that you want that does not exist. You're listening to this because this is your call to create it, my friend. Have a great weekend. And thank you for joining me.